This says the attack against media organizations isn't just from other right-wing organizations, but also the establishment, as CBS News is reporting that Alex Jones will now have to liquidate his assets in order to pay the family members that he was accused of defaming, and then found guilty in a court of law without a court trial proceeding of the actual case, and then fined over $1 billion in restitution to them. As this Thursday, Alex Jones took steps to liquidate his assets in order to pay for the legal damages that he is owed, to cover the $1.5 billion that he was ordered to pay. A fee that, of course, is unpayable, a fee that is absolutely ridiculous. We're going to have some incredible live shows this upcoming week, Monday, Tuesday, and Friday. We got a major headliner coming in, and those shows will be going on about 4 or 6 p.m. Eastern. Subscribe, click the notification button here, as of course I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys, and that's why I love you guys. Stay tuned for more here on youtube.com/wearechange.
Nice thing about Luke Uncensored is those emails do make it to your inbox, but every time he's going on a hike, I'm like, bro, that's like 20 hours away. Can't make it. But enticing invitations he's been thrown out. All right, we heard a little bit about the Alex Jones saga, and we heard reference to his court hearings and his court trial. And I want to get back to that in a couple minutes because we got something interesting. First, I want to let you guys know this Tuesday is Town Hall. So if you're a Grand Theft World member, you're welcome to come to Town Hall. You can be a fly on the wall. You can listen to, people talk, or you can unmute. You can turn your video on. People converse. It goes on for several hours. It's fun-filled, action-packed, and it's dynamic and interactive as opposed to just me and Lawrence and Scott talking to you all night, keeping you up while you're driving across country. Those types of metaphors, people who were listening live. I want to touch on these books tonight, because this week, yesterday, was it's the anniversary of one of our good time allies, the only democracy in the Middle East, attacking United States naval ship. And we got this book on it too. It's just a little bit more candid. They say it's beyond treason. There's actually a documentary to this title. If you guys maybe we'll pull a piece of that documentary later. But getting back to the Town Hall this Tuesday night, we have that, and I also have a special announcement tonight, but I'd like co-host Scott Armstrong of the Rebunked podcast and the Unjected podcast. He's a co-founder of a new startup, and this is not an advertisement to you. This is us bragging about me being the first customer and you, the audience, being able to get these types of feature functionalities, because I'd like to look up a clip from Grand Theft World when we covered Alex Jones's trial. And I just feel like it would take me a half hour to go to the website and find those episodes and find that clip. And I was hoping, Scott, you'd be able to help me out with that.
Oh yeah, it would be absolutely my pleasure. So what's up, everybody? So I just saw a need in the market. I'm a podcaster myself, you know what I mean? And so I'm like, God, it'd be so amazing to have this tool. Now, I didn't invent this tool. I didn't come up with the initial idea. Those of you that are No Agenda people, those of you that listen to the No Agenda podcast, you're aware of the tool that was developed by Sir Denonymous, which is called Bingit.io, which is essentially a search engine that acts in a way that you go to Bingit.io, you type in a word or a phrase, and it searches the entire history of No Agenda, and it'll show you every time that word was mentioned in a show. It'll search the show notes, and just any sort of like their links are in the So anyway, so I was like, wow, this is such an amazing tool, and but it's only for No Agenda, and No Agenda is audio only. So I reached out to Dean. I tracked him down on the now defunct No Agenda social app, and I was like, yeah, hey man, this is an amazing tool. Congratulations. Like I use it for stuff. And is there any way that you would be able to develop it for like video podcasting? And his response is so classic. He was like, well, maybe, but do you think anybody would be interested in something like that? I was like, bro, like we could change the game with this. So him and I have been working behind the scenes for, maybe a good 6 months now. Me throwing out things like, hey, can we do this? Hey, can we do that? And it kind of has the new iteration from just being like a search engine for a show to, I was like, well, it'd be so cool is like if we could take this thing that I just searched and be able to export a clip directly from the search engine, and that way I could download it on my phone and put it on Twitter, Instagram, and share it. So as an audience member for a show that I really enjoy, like let's say Grand Theft World, is like, God, what was that one time Richard and Tony were talking about something, and I could just type it right in, find the exact episode where it was mentioned, click on it, it'll start playing the episode from that timestamp. And then if I like that clip, I was like, yes, that was the one I want. That I can export it and then put it on Instagram or Twitter. And I was like, that would be like, if we can figure out that sequence of functionality, then we would have something pretty incredible on our hands. And so, we figured it out, and well, Dean figured it out, and I was like behind him, cheering him on and being like, hey, let's do this, let's do that. But all that to say that, like, we have a pretty cool little tool that we're excited to give to the world. And Grand Theft World is the first show who has actually jumped on board and decided to utilize this tool for themselves, their producers, and for all of you guys in the community. So it's called Clip Genie. If you guys have heard me talking about it on my show a little bit, but yeah, I'm excited that Grand Theft World has adopted this technology. So yeah. So anyway, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think you're right, Rich. You're muted, I think. Yeah, there you go.
No, I was just saying it went from concept to thing we can use in just a couple weeks, because it was like a month ago that Scott got a meeting with me and he pitched me. I'm like, yes, please. Yeah. Where's your prices? Yes, please. Here, let's do this. And then Dean was able to suck in all the Grand Theft World episodes, do all the AI, mojo magic. And LD's, he's got it loaded. He was having trouble getting something there, so I was typing back and forth with him. That's why I muted. But the point would be, now we have the ability to reach back in time, find these clips right away, circulate them. It gives you, the audience, the empowerment to, when you see things going on that were on this show 4 years ago, how long does it take you now? It's like a few seconds. Here's the clip. Here's the transcript. Highlight what you want. Press export. It's out there doing its work now. So all this great knowledge that we have encapsulated can now come back to work with just a couple seconds of searching, instead of like, it's a task. Let me set aside a half hour and go find that thing. So Scott, being a graduate of Autonomy, like, he's out there making moves, and he knew enough with this opportunity. He's like, I know who I can pitch, the person who told me how to do pitch meetings.
I mean, there was that too. And so I was like, I get to go do a pitch meeting to the guy that, like, pretty much taught me how to do a pitch meeting, which is hilarious. But, and then it was like, couldn't have gone better. I was very excited about that. But also, just the idea of, like, seeing a need in the market. Like, it's like, one of the things you talk about that I found so valuable is, like, when there's sales, which are like cringy, you don't want to be cringy with sales. Like, when you find something that there's a demand for, you're providing a service. Like, sales should be about providing a service. And so it's just like effortless at that point. And so if you could provide the best service possible, that's what it's all about. It's a win-win for everybody,
Yeah. It's a win-win. And it's not something like, because I said this earlier today, because I did a 6 hours Q&A and sales training today. Oftentimes a client comes to you with an idea and they're like, what are you trying to do? And they're like, I'm trying to start a business. Right. And my metaphor was, if I took 3 people, put them in a classroom and said, in the next 5 hours, you guys are going to start your business. One of those people would get up and leave, and 2 people would start writing down their ideas. 5 hours later, pencils down. Okay, they got their business. It's on paper. The other person comes back in and said, I made 10 sales. Right. So there's like the starting your business mentality, or there's make your offer, go get someone to accept it. And now you're in business. Now do the other stuff that has to support that. Right. But you being able to say, you and Dean could have spent 2 years like bringing this startup company to reality. And instead you're like, let me go pitch the idea to make sure it flies and what people think it's worth and these sort of things. And then you had people saying, yes, please, now. Soon. Yeah,
exactly. And really, it's like your show essentially was the show I particularly had in mind in developing this tool, because it's like custom made for your type of show, like a heavy research show with so much information in every episode that it's impossible to kind of sort through it all unless you have like, unless you're what I mean? It's just like so dense with information. And now this is a way to like search, to index, search, and extract those little nuggets that may have gotten lost along the way, And so I even reached out to like LD, like before I even talked to you, before you were even aware that this was a thing. I was texting LD. I'm like, hey man, I got this new thing. Like, what do you think like, what do you think of where it's at? Like how could this be more useful to Grand Theft World? And he gave me really good feedback because originally we were developing it just for Rumble. We figured content creators in our little, in our little community, like they usually have a Rumble channel. Well, LD pointed out that a lot of times, if there are technical issues and somehow the stream drops off, then the Rumble stream will end prematurely, but it always gets uploaded like the next day to Odyssey. So there's always the full episode on Odyssey. So he's like, well, we would be more interested in if you're like trying to find a source to aggregate the content from, like Odyssey would be better for us. And I was like, oh, cool. So I went back to Dean. I'm like, Dean, can we actually have it run off of Odyssey instead of Rumble? And he's like, well, I'm sure we can. Now, Odyssey is a different format. He had to figure out some things. He had to jump through some hoops, but he was able to figure that out. So then that made it so that it was like even more of a useful tool for you guys, basically. So that was something that was, I thought was pretty, and you pointed that out too. Like, you like gave me kudos for that, but I really just thought that like your guys' show in particular, like if we can, demonstrate how effective of a tool it is using your guys' show, then that would be a great way to start. Basically.
Well, and the other thing it gives me access to that I'd never even really thought of was the original use case, which was Dean applying it to just audio. Because for me, Peace Revolution and 9/11 Synchronicity, you like, good luck. You have to go find I actually have notes with references, so you can find where in the episode things are. But with it, when it's all audio, you don't have a chance. When it's video, you scrub across, oh, there's the story. Right. And now that my audience can go back and search 9/11 Synchronicity eventually and Peace Revolution eventually, right? Because we just got Grand Theft World set up and then we'll do the other ones. But it's a huge game changer, and it makes it easier for me because I search my work often. Where's that piece? Because I don't want to have to recreate the wheel. Where's the piece where I prove that Alan Dulles said that people don't read? Because it's in some rare reference place, and I know I published it, and I published stuff so I can go back and find it later. And now this search ability, right? The Clip Genie search ability in my own content is invaluable.
Yeah,
just
and you know
from
what?
production standpoint.
That's all. Yeah, exactly. And it occurred to me, I need to do like a FAQ or a how-to just to kind of demonstrate, like I learned something while we were sitting here pre-show that you can like, once you do a search, you can like share, there's a little share icon. You can share the link with your friends and it'll pull up that search that you just conducted. That's like, whoa, it's like yeah. So I didn't even know that was a feature that was in there. So Dean like even slipped that one in on me, but the kind of the tutorial, like just for you guys listening here, if you want to go mess around with it, like it's even easier than you could even possibly imagine. Like I was like, at first I was like, well, where's like the highlight tool? How do you highlight it's like, no, you just use your native phone or native computer highlighting. Once you type in a word, it'll show the transcript. You highlight the words you want, and then you press the little film button, the little clip button above, and it'll pull up a separate
it does a beginning and end where you highlighted the text.
You just highlight. You just use your native like highlighting tool in your web browser, and a little window will pop up, and it does automatic captioning because I know that's what all the kids like these days. It's not as fancy as like some of the captionings that you see on like Instagram, but we're gonna work on that. Like I told them, like that's something that we want.
Choose your captions.
Like I want like customizable fonts and colors and like styles like popping out, like super like fancy caption tools built into it. I think would be really effective. And then, but anyway, but it'll pop up. You say how many words you want per caption, like if you want 2 words per caption or 5 words, because these days they like rapid fire words coming at you with the captioning, and then you just place the position if you want the top, bottom, left, right, and then you just hit prepare clip, download, and then it'll just download, and you just pop it on social media. Like I've that's one of my, because I'm the only one that does Rebunked. Like I don't have producers or a team, and so like my big bottleneck in the whole operation is clips. Like I don't have. I know it's an excuse, but I don't allow myself time to do the follow-up. It's like I have like all this content, and then it's like, gosh, if I could just take a few moments and clip out an episode and push that out, that's going to be, like a force multiplier in so many different ways.
Don't scare my clip team, bro.
Yeah.
They're clipping this right now next week.
Exactly.
So you
Exactly.
guys are good. We still need you.
Exactly. Well, no. I mean, I think that's the most valuable thing. Like if like the first person I hire to help with Rebunked is going to be clip people. So there you go. But anyway, this is going to make it a lot easier. Like I was like the other day I was cooking, and like on one hand, and like the other hand, I just like exported. I was like, oh yeah, there's that one part. I just did it.
Yeah, that's
like,
silly,
right there.
dude.
Boom, and just dropped it. Like it was
So
like
Lawrence,
it took me like a minute.
Can you put it up on screen? Because you have you're looking for the Alex Jones trial clips from 100
I was just playing
episodes.
with making a clip right here while you guys are talking.
Wow.
And the file sizes are really cool too. It's like if it's like a 30-second clip, it's like a 8 megabyte file. It's like, it's pretty legit.
Very manageable.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so what are we looking at? This is the result podcast. I'm sorry, it used to be called Podcasts. We could talk about that too.
Yeah, that would be the
thankfully
backstory.
It's called Clip Genie now.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, so I pulled up episode 91. It's titled Alex Jones on Trial.
Yeah, right on.
Which helped, but it jumped to, you can see it's grayed out in the background, and it's preparing a clip right now. I didn't know.
You highlighted a lot of text there, so that's gonna be a fairly long clip. That's probably gonna be a few minutes.
Bad example. Well, I'll stop that so we can just try to.
Is it keep?
I guess you can't stop it.
Can't
jump over here.
Tell Dean we want a stop button.
Yeah, sometimes you want to
over
stop
here.
button. I'm gonna add that to the list.
Here.
I just it's just frustrating because even like for all and Alex Jones has said some pretty insane shit over the years. But you're allowed to do that. I mean, if I want to see, what I want to see, and maybe you know more about this, Rich, is like, do they have that smoking gun evidence? And on a civil court, in a civil trial, you don't need that. But I'm almost approaching this from a criminal trial. Do they really have some sort of like links in a chain that they can prove causally beyond a reasonable doubt that that InfoWars and Alex Jones specifically knew that he was intentionally galvanizing and riling up individuals that were going to harass parents?
Evidence of that regard has not yet been presented because what they're catching them on are emails they didn't really read or weren't really, because
the email.
There you go.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That is super cool. Now, so it gives you the transcript, and the transcript hooks up to the time codes. As you change the highlight, it changes the size of the clip that you're watching and rendering.
Exactly.
Yeah, aside from the stop download button, I mean, it's never going to be finished. So congratulations for minimum viable product, offer made, offer accepted, name of the company improved, and you're off to the races.
Absolutely. And I appreciate you guys and your behind the scenes work. And then, it's like this collaboration to optimize it for everybody. You know what I mean? So now we got something to bring to market. So there you go.
Yeah. I mean, it's easier for me to send you money as Clip Genie than Podcasts. It's just.
Yeah, exactly. Well, just so you guys know, okay, so PODCAX, that was the original title of the tool, and I was super excited about that because I was looking for like a 5-digit URL because I wanted you to be able to type in GTW dot something very short, not like a really long URL.com. That was my thinking, right? And so PODCAX, I was super excited that I snagged a 6-letter URL. I was like, podcast, dude, this is great. This is going to be the future. And then it just doesn't hit. And then we found Clip Genie and we're like, okay, Clip Genie. It's the Clip Genie. I'm sorry. So
no, Clip Genie was a premium URL, and most people starting out a project, they don't want to put $1,000 into our URL.
Yeah.
And in this case, you got a hot project. And so I said to his partner, I said, please take my 1,000 and spend 1,000 and get the thing and send me an invoice that says Clip Genie and we're good. And he's a man of action. Dean did it right then when we were on the call, and I was like, done. Because when I told Scott a couple weeks ago, I was like, Clip Genie, and you looked it up, you're like, but it's $1,000. So you're looking for like something for free, and it's when you're going to get client, spend that money, do that, create that mojo. All right. Clip Genie, everybody. We'll be using it throughout tonight's episode. So let's go.
So gtw.clipgenie.com. GTW.
Yeah, you guys can go there right now. gtw.clipgenie.com.
Yep.
And if there's anything in this week's news that we've talked about in the past, then you just find that clip and drop it. I'm going to start offering bonuses and stuff like that because I want to encourage the use of this being used. So as it makes it back to us through social media, I want to do some special recognitions and cool stuff like that. Maybe some contests. Let's spice it up because the world needs Grand Theft World more now than ever.
Yeah, that's a great suggestion, and I really want to emphasize that that's really one of the main goals and visions for this project. And so it puts the power in your guys' hands to take this and blast this out. This is how we flood the zone. This is how we override the censorship. This is how we take this information and we blast it out. It's up to you guys, and it's the easiest way for you to take a clip from your favorite show and just overwhelm the system with this information. So please just take it and run with it.
And if you know a creator that has a large library of content, like, David Icke and other characters have been running around 20, 30 years, is like the ability to be able to search through. And now, like, if I'm a documentary maker and I want to include those clips. It's few and far between to be able to find them. But if you start putting your various clips together, and you call Dean and say, "Hey, I don't have this, but I have this. Can you run clip Genie on this?" Yes. And now as a filmmaker, those 40 interviews fully transcribed, you just highlight what you want. It almost cuts your whole movie together. So it's not just for people who are doing live streams and stuff like that. It's for filmmakers, creatives, a whole bunch of different applications, people with personal family camera roll and video. Can we find that video of grandma at the, where she said this? Good luck otherwise, because your iCloud is all clogged up with all the other things you've shot over the past 20 years. So being able to run this on personal libraries as well eventually is going to be a huge move in the market, bro. Congratulations.
Amen. Awesome. Thank you. And thank you for jumping on board. Like, this is awesome.
Yeah, I recognize the obvious.
What makes the Grand Theft World podcast unique, invigorating, exciting, and informative? Most other podcasts out there are either doing straight up interviews or they're just covering the daily news. They're covering current events from the day they happened. And that is effective. It's useful. It's a great starting point. And then sometimes these current events change during the week past the first story. So we like to give it a little time. You have to wait till some of the dust settles on these stories in order to give them accurate coverage. And the other thing that's really missing in the media landscape is covering the articles that are coming out every day. That's great. That's necessary. But who's bringing in contextual history so that you can understand what has been going on for decades and decades to lead up to the machinations and actions that we see unfolding today? So what we do here on the podcast is we cover current events. Many of these things are censored, but we wait about a week. As a forensic historian, I focused mainly through my career on the history of globalism and collectivism and things that they call maybe the New World Order. There's a lot of facts to these sort of circumstances, groups, events, activities, working groups that they've had over time. So for Grand Theft World listeners, we not only break down the current events, most of which that are censored during the week, we provide you with contextual history, we give you the source notes, the references, we do deep dives, and this really empowers you with an understanding of context and history so that you can make more informed decisions in your life. There's also a community, a membership where you guys can actually ask questions and we can get into the show and we can share evidence. And there's a town hall weekly for Grand Theft World for those who listen to it and are interested in covering the stories that we don't get to during a 6-hour show. Listening to it an hour a day, you could easily consume the week's news, but you're going to have substance and meaning and context and understanding. And with that, you can make higher quality decisions in your life. So if you're interested in more quality in your life, go to grandtheftworld.com, click podcast at the top, and we'll see you there. Thank you.
These allegations are false.
This isn't Grand Theft Auto, folks. This isn't a video game.
What are the most surprising things that you discovered once you started pulling on that thread? Who he was connected to, what institutions he was influential over, what events he participated in?
Come on, man. What are we talking about? Come on, man. No.
You don't have to think about it, dude.
I got this quote because you said you didn't know much about Klaus Schwab. I made it my job to, as soon as this happened, I'm like, okay, this guy's their front man. Let me learn about the official history of the World Economic Forum. I got their 40-year history. I got every book that Klaus Schwab has written or ghostwritten. I went through those books. This is one of the most interesting passages.
Come on, man.